Tyler O'Neill, man, we have to talk about Tyler O'Neill because it wasn't just the homer. 6 straight opening day home runs for Tyler O'Neill, which is still an MLB record, by the way. But he was finding ways to get on base too. It wasn't just his homers. He wasn't just a power guy today. He was getting on base, and this is something we talked about with Tyler O'Neill, Zach. When he has been healthy, he mashes lefties, first of all, and he also is just a good all-around player. The key is playing for 162 or at least close to it, but I don't think you could have had a better debut than what Tyler O'Neill had today.
No, you couldn't have. And the only way that, I was like, okay, the best way for Tyler O'Neill to silence everyone, because, there was the whole, this was such a downgrade over Tony and everything. I said, gosh, I forget, a few shows ago, maybe it was last month, Tyler O'Neill has that potential because of the power, because of that unworldly power, because he is a damn good hitter versus lefties. If he can get the righties just decent, he's got that kind of personality and power that fans love. So if he's able to just take off to begin this season, I would not be surprised in the next 2 weeks if he's a fan favorite. The biceps, everything about him, I love it.
I think it's incredible. And he's a guy that you would hope can just continue to do what he does, because one of the weaknesses of Baltimore last season was mashing up on lefties. And, Brandon Hyde made it clear, the Orioles made it clear that was something they were prioritizing. But I think that while Tony is that, yes, he can hit 40 homers in a season, he can be that massive power guy, I just think there's more consistency if Tyler O'Neill can stay healthy for Tyler, where I think that, he can still go get you 40 in a great year. But I think that the overall, because we talked about it all the time, Zach, Tony goes through the peaks and valleys like no other. He can be the best hitter in baseball for 2 weeks and then fall off the face of the earth for the next 4. That's just how it goes. Tyler gives you a little more consistency, and I think that that's good for this team in particular, just like we talked about with getting solo homers, turning those into 2-run shots or 3-run shots, extending innings, getting on base, where, Tony, while he's a big power guy, his average fluctuates like he does, where for Tyler, I think he can be just a little bit more consistent. I mean, do you feel like, we talk about X factors. Is Tyler O'Neill up there on your list of X factors?
If he can be healthy, he's a guy that the Orioles, it's going to be a massive win for them to sign him. That's going to be a massive move that people look back on and they're like, okay, we did not truly understand what that move meant. And I think, we talked about with Ryan, we've talked about on here, the biggest thing for Tyler O'Neill is staying healthy. If he's on the field for 130 games, you are going to love his production. You are going to love the player you get out of him. It's going to be up to health. No one has ever questioned, back to his time in St. Louis coming up, back to his time with the Red Sox, everything. No one has ever questioned his ability. That's why he got the contract he did, even after not staying healthy, because every team's going, man, if he can stay healthy, if we can be the 1 year he stays healthy, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit. So it's all about health for him, genuinely. There are a lot of players that you can say that to, it's all about health. But he really is one of those guys where every time he's on the field, he produces. It's just making sure that he's available. The best ability is availability, Kevin.
That's how it goes. And I think that for a Baltimore team that obviously we know about the pitching staff injuries that they suffered last season, and honestly, they're going through it again a tiny bit this year too. Hopefully that will ease up for them, but the way the MLB is going, who knows? Sometimes it is just like, hey, whichever team stays the healthiest has the best shot to win, and I think that health is going to play an even bigger factor in the AL in general. Yes, everybody's favorite is the Dodgers. There's no secret that the Dodgers are the favorite to win the World Series again this season. But the AL, the pennant, that's a different story. That's wide open. And so if the Orioles pitching staff can hold it together, the vets can go in and give quality starts. Most of the time, the bullpen is able to be effective. It doesn't have to be a top 5 rotation. It doesn't have to be a top 5 bullpen, because this offense, to me, is going to be top 5 in a lot of categories if they can, 1, stay healthy, and 2, just get on base more. And that, to me, is the big part of it, because we could see this Orioles offense. How many times, Zach, did we see the Orioles lose 5-3? And they hit 3 solo homers. I mean, if you get a guy or 2 on base, that's a different conversation and a different ball game. So that, to me, is really key and really consistent, especially When you go 1 through 9, all 9 guys can mash. But how
Yeah.
many guys can get on base because every guy's a home run threat? Just an extra guy on base can make a huge difference.